What's up, y'all? CP from Blue Eclipse Productions. I'm back, and in this video, I'm gonna be talking about sidechain compression. And what brought on this video, by the way, I appreciate user by the name of Yemino Man. If I'm saying it wrong, my bad, cuzzo. But basically, he gave me a comment. He had seen my compression videos, and he said, and I quote, "Sidechaining is good for the making." What do you say? Sidechaining is good for making the beats pump through a compressor too. I don't think there's any really good sidechaining tutorials though. Could you do one? Absolutely. So, all right, sidechain compression. Now, the reason why I didn't go into sidechain compression in the first few videos is because it's not difficult to understand, but unless you fully understand what compression is, it's not going to make any sense. So for those of you who missed out, unlike Yemino Man, who missed out on my compression videos, I will include a link in the annotation. Watch them. I think it's in 3 parts. Watch it, learn it, absorb it. If you got any questions on it, let me know. But it's imperative you understand it, because that's the foundation. If you don't understand what basic compression is or how a compressor works, then sidechaining is, it's like, it makes no sense. But for those of you who do understand what compression is and have seen the videos, here's my best definition of what sidechain compression is. It's when you have a compressor that receives its input from an alternative sound source. No, I'm serious. Like, that's it. That's all it is. I know it seems all convoluted and complicated. People make sidechain compression out to be some mysterious, miraculous fucking, boogeyman shit. It's not. It's literally that fucking simple. You know what I mean? And one of the best applications for compression, sidechaining compression, like I said, it requires another input source for the compressor to work. So try to imagine like a DJ at a radio station, right? And he, say you got a guy like fucking, Chuck Jackson. Hey, I'm Chuck Jackson from Kiss My Ass FM, You got one of those fuckers. So Chuck Jackson got his program, and he also has music playing in the background while he's talking. So for him to speak while this song is playing at the same time, his voice is going to get sucked into the song, and you're not really going to be able to hear Chuck, right? So say Chuck is like, all right, well, let me hire an engineer, So he has an engineer helping him work the boards. So he's like, look, man, every single time I speak, I want you to bring down the volume of the song and bring it up. Can you do that for me? Thank you. So the engineer's like, man, I don't know when you're gonna speak or when you're not gonna speak. What the fuck? I'm not a psychic. It's gonna sound sloppy as shit. So where sidechain compression comes in really handy is because, think about it, like I said, you have a compressor working on a signal, but it receives input from another sound source. So you have Chuck. Chuck is a sound source. The song that's playing, that's also a sound source. So if you put a compressor on the music, then the music will be squashed all the time. But if you use a sidechain compression, it's assigned to that track, but it receives input from, guess what? Chuck. So think about it this way. Like I said in the first video, compressors begin at or beyond the threshold point. So instead of the threshold relying on the music, it relies on Chuck. So when Chuck speaks, that is the measure of when the threshold begins, and that's when the compression compresses the music. You see how that kind of makes sense? Or it should make sense all the way. Chuck is speaking, so because he's the input for the side chain reduce the dynamic range of the sound while he's speaking. That's how you get that ducking sound. That's how you get that pumping sound. That's how it works, because like I said, it would be impossible for Chuck to try to work the boards on his own. It would be annoying for the engineer to just guess and try to, you know, figure out when Chuck is going to speak and when he's not going to speak. So sidechain alleviates all of that shit and makes it 100 times easier, and it sounds a lot more professional. But also, sidechaining is used extensively in music, especially with, say for instance, you have a bass kick and you have a bass line, and you've tried to EQ the bass, you try to EQ the kick, you try to get them to cooperate and play nice together, and for whatever reason it's just not coming out right. What you can do as an experiment or as an alternative is use sidechain compression. You can put a compressor on the bass line and turn it into sidechain, and then make the bass kick the input for the compression. So whenever the kick happens, it gets the bass line to duck out of the way. But when that bass kick is not playing or it doesn't have any volume, then the volume of the finger bass or whatever kind of bass will raise back up, and that's how you get that smooth pumping effect where it leaves headroom. That's another really good reason to use sidechain compression, by the way, folks. Headroom. When you really start to master or use sidechain compression a little bit more, that's when you'll realize, damn, I can do some pretty amazing things where I can get these two sounds to cooperate together without fucking up the headroom. And it's really useful. But if you want to see how sidechain compression works in action, we're going to have to take it back to the lab. So come on, I'm going to go to Cubase and I'm going to show you an example so you understand it all the way. Check it out.